What if it's all
weakness and it will.
What's up, everybody? I'm going to be reacting to this podcast of David Goggins, Stop Training Yourself to Be Soft, by, of course, Chris Williamson and Modern Wisdom.
Hammer you. If I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are.
David Goggins, welcome to the show.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Where have you been for the last 4 years? You've been jumping out of helicopters and fighting fires, and what have you been doing?
Well, I did that last year. I guess this year I did that. But I just do me. You know, I'm out there running, working out, and just trying to find out more of what this is all about. Trying to find out more what I'm all about. So that takes me getting away. You know, I'm not about even doing these podcasts, man. So not nothing against you, but I'm not about all this stuff. I'm not one that likes to hear himself talk a lot. I'm about action, and action means less talking and more doing. So
I agree with that, because without action, there's a lot more doing than saying what you're doing. Which, the way I look at it is, I'd rather become mainstream like Christopher is right now, because he got 8 million views on this video within 3 years. That is very impressive. Let's give a round of applause for him. And the reason why I'm clapping is because 8 million views within 3 years, that is a lot of people. A lot of people, which means David Goggins and Jocko Willink are probably one of the two most biggest podcasters on the planet. Or not podcasters, but just mental people that are out there, besides like Robbins and like some of those other people.
where I've been.
What is that smoke jumping stuff?
So basically, it's you know about wildland firefighting, about when the forest has fires. There's a lot.
One of the things that I've been thinking about is the danger of success making you soft. Mm-hmm. And this must be something that you've battled with over the last few years.
Right.
More money, more attention, more fame, more free things if you wanted, more opportunities to go places and do stuff with people.
Right.
How have you dealt with this battle of success not making you soft?
You have to cap it. You have to learn to cap success. So what I do is, like right now, I don't like doing podcasts. There's a lot of things I don't do that I have to do now to get the message out there to help people out. And what I mean by capping success, I believe everybody should live their life. So everything that someone says in life, take it with a grain of salt. Take what they give and don't be like, oh, David Goggins said this or whoever said this. No, do not take what I say and do exactly what I say.
What he means by that is taking it with a grain of salt. I totally agree with that. Like, take my information with a grain of salt. I'm just here trying to make content for you guys, so you guys can actually look back on either my life or my content, that without the grain of salt, there is no salt left to gain. There is no opinion left to use. There's no stating facts left to state. Because without the grain of salt, you are not but grains, but particles in the abyss of time. What I mean by that is grains of salt. It's little particles. Your brain is like little matter particles waiting to be acted, said, or thought about.
So for me, what makes me who I am, because my mission is very different than yours or anybody else's. I have to go into a situation where, okay, I'm a guy who wants to make people better. For people to get better, I have to continuously get better myself. For me to do that, I can't just say, oh, I have this resume, the resume is there forever, I'm good. I have to cap my success, because for me to help people out, I can't just say I did it once and I'm good. I have to continue to reinvent the wheel of the mind and figure out more and more ways for you to pull. Because if I have a cookie cutter message, it may hit 5 people, out of 25, you just failed. My message needs to be in a way where I can hit all 25 people. It needs to be broad enough to where all 25 people may not like the message, but they're getting something from it.
I totally agree with that. And that goes a lot of content online. There's not a lot of people that explain more in the detail about what the fuck they're thinking or saying, because they just want to use the grain of salt that was said by other people, which is reacting to podcasts, which is what I love doing. I try to explain it more. Like when he said broaden, if you don't broaden the view of one video, other people will not look at your content. You must broaden the field of view, the field of vision, and just broaden everything. Because if not, you'll become lost within the wind.
That is evolution. You must continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from. So for me, I must cap myself so I can come back with better, more unique knowledge versus all that cookie cutter knowledge that's out there. That's why people buy the books I have, because it's not cookie cutter. It's real knowledge.
The other thing now is, when you first started, you were a lone ranger.
Right.
Nobody really knew who you were outside of some obscure endurance places and half-heard truths of these weird myths.
Right.
But now you've got people's expectations layered on top as well. So not only have you got...
I'll be right back. Smells good. I'm going to eat this really quick, and I'll be back at recording. See you.
Success potentially making you soft, so you've got to cap that. You've got to say no to more money and opportunities and cool people.
Right.
You've also got this extra layer of expectation that's coming through from other people too. And I think that you talk about trained humility in the new book too. I've got to presume that that fits into this equation.
Right. It fits in big time. And that's one big reason why I do fight fire. Because all the knowledge for myself comes from that place. It doesn't come from the place of success. My knowledge does not come from the place of, because for me, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. And that kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
So it's important to stay hungry.
It's important to stay hungry, but it's important more to stay humble within that hunger. So while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, but humility is everything.
What was that story about William Crawford, the janitor?
Yeah. So this guy won the Medal of Honor. So he won the Medal of Honor, and which is the highest award in the military. And this guy went to the Air Force Academy, and he was a janitor. And no one knew who the fuck this man was. He had the highest award in all the military for heroics. For heroics, saving lives, putting his life on the line. Could have been killed. And he is now basically, cleaning shitters for young kids. And we can all imagine how that probably went. There's probably some, little bit of taunting here and there. And he just sat there and cleaned the shitter. So that's why he's in my trained humility part, because for this man to be at the level he was and have that kind of humility to go, I'm a Medal of Honor winner, but I'm going to put that in my closet, and I'm going to pick up my broom and dustpan, and I'm going to pick up, this rag and clean this shit for these young men. That right there is amazing for me, man. That's where you grow. That's growth, huge growth. And also it shows that he was doing his job. He was a servant.
He was doing extra. He was serving the children, and he was serving his country, and he has the highest honor in all the United States of Marines or whatever, Navy SEALs.
He didn't look at himself any better than anybody else. The second you do that, you totally lost. You cannot look at yourself like people with me even. I always look at people. I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon, because I've been there so many times.
Speaking of getting too soft, did you see that there was a news story that came out recently about the treatment of SEALs during their selection process? Do you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, they were getting sprayed with tear gas whilst they were on the ground, and they were made to sing Happy Birthday so that they couldn't hold their breath while it was happening. And there was a quote from this guy, I think this type of training is really senseless, said Sven Hjort, a Duke University associate professor who studies tear gas and its effects. It looks more like a form of hazing.
Right. I see all that. Trust me. Like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I understand that guy. I understand exactly where you're coming from. That is your personal opinion, and I totally get that. But there's very few people in this world who want to do a job like that. And it takes a different kind of mindset.
It takes
is it tear grab?
A man to do and become a SEAL, which if there's any SEALs that are listening to this or watching this, I hope that the hazing and the shit that you went through as the training to become a SEAL actually made you who you are and what you're meant to be. Because you're going to the forge, you're going to the hell. And how are you going to stop the hell? By breeding it and taking it in, or discouraging it and not going to the hell and being not honorably discharged. Because you signed a contract. Once you sign a contract, that timing is all what you have.
Appropriate? I don't know. How hard that training is, I don't expect anybody to understand it, but 1%. But the loud voices of this world are the 99% who don't understand exactly what you have to do. That's why when I speak and you don't understand me, it's probably a good thing. Because that probably means I'm in an area of life that you're not in, which is fine. That's why I don't judge people. And this guy right here judging that, unless you've been there and done that, and you really can't speak about it unless you're in those situations that are so hard that takes a special human being to get through them.
I think it's the same kind of feeling that I get when I heard about Elon Musk telling the employees at Twitter, we're going to ask you to work harder than you've ever worked in your life.
Yeah.
This is a place, Twitter is now a company where people can go if they want to be in the top 0.0001% of hard-working programmers and software developers on the planet.
That's right.
and everybody was up in arms. This is unbelievable. We're going back to this old version of capitalism where the worker is being abused and used and thrown away. What they didn't account for is that there is a non-insignificant cohort of people for whom that's their dream.
That's right.
People who want to be able to get up on a morning, having gone to bed 4 hours before, and can contribute to some sort of progress that they think, this is what I'm here for.
Yep.
And it's the same with the SEALs. If you're not the sort of person that is built to go through selection, it's like speaking a different language.
That's it. And that's why I don't try to convince people otherwise. I understand that why you're confused. I understand why you say things like that. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I understand it. But also, what you don't understand, what you fail to understand, is the other side, that you need people like that. You need the Elon Musks. You need the David Goggins. You need some of these Navy SEALs, some of these other people. You need those people. And they forget that. And it takes a very, very unique person and unique mind to do some of these jobs that are necessary in this world.
But especially when we're thinking about someone going to war.
Right.
Like, do you want your armed forces to be underprepared for the battlefield because you didn't want to be too mean to them in advance?
That's the problem. That's the problem. And that's a problem that I've always had. Is that right there.
Like and subscribe. See you guys.